Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, on the TikTok now and again, on Instagram as Wilder Show Pod. And email is podcast@wildershow.com, or just engage us wherever you listen. Give us a thumbs up or a comment. I'll give you a comment in a second. Okay. Wherever you get your podcast, would you just like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share? I had mentioned last time a little jackassery, I think at the very end. So I'm kind of surprised anybody actually heard it. I mentioned something about the animal talent agency that I had.
Yeah.
The names, the marketing, the names that I've come up with. Mm-hmm. I didn't mention the slogan for the name of the 24-hour Chinese food place.
Tell me.
Walk around the clock. Mm-hmm. See, it's always open at 24 hours. You get the... Somebody's got to be using that. But they like rock around. I'm talking about 24 hours. That's what would make mine different. Anyway, I talked about the animal agency, and the name of it I thought would be a talent agency for animals, would be Dramatic Pause.
Yeah.
And then I said that it was a spinoff really for birds and more providing sort of general infrastructure to give them the maximum control, the animals, the maximum control for their own auditions and jobs. And I said the name of that was Independent Clause. Mm-hmm. And so somebody wrote, that is the perfect name for a talent agency.
That's fantastic.
Perfect. I wish I had thought of that.
Me too.
How did I not think of that? Anyway, so like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And do comment along the way. It helps with the algorithm. Also, remember tomorrow to hold on to something. Tomorrow's a day that we lose gravity for 7 seconds.
I got to get that together.
So, yeah, by 8:33, make sure you're holding on to a tree or a lamppost or something. The toilet, something that is anchored, something that's anchored and will not float. And then I also have a bit of an apology because, I talked about, we got on this kick about Taylor Sheridan and the Taylor Sheridan franchise and the different ones. And we got on that kick and we were talking about that. And I guess we talked about Dutton Ranch and some of these that have bad language and whatnot. I get around that. Not a big deal for me. Some of them, though, they're shows that I don't think he ever thought, well, this one is going to actually also be on network TV. Yellowstone ultimately was on network TV.
It was?
Yeah. CBS reran some of those.
Okay.
But it started out on something else. But they didn't have they didn't have nudity, for example.
Right.
Anyway, here's my apology. I said that I'd watched the first episode of season 3 of Lioness. Mm-hmm. And I said bad language, but I'm going to watch it. I forgot. It's more than bad language. I had to fast forward through several minutes of episode 2. Mm-hmm. So that is my apology. If you went there thinking, I can handle bad language, and you said, wait, what? 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 So I needed a bit of a palate cleanser after I watched this.
Okay.
And so I did go back and watch The Way We Were.
Did you really?
I really did.
Wow.
And I forgot that's Sidney Pollack.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
did you
seriously.
Cry?
No, I didn't cry.
Not even just a little tear?
No, not at all. No, but I forgot. I forgot how great. He had a thing. He had a great working relationship with Robert Redford. Robert Redford was in a bunch of Sidney Pollack movies. Oh, yeah? I don't know if you remember that or not. Before he directed Robert Redford in The Way We Were, guess what movie he directed him in just the year before? Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh, wow.
So he was the director there. Let me run down some of these. 3 Days of the Condor.
Yeah.
Which was also Robert Redford. The Electric Horseman. Absence of Malice. He did, of course, Tootsie. He did Out of Africa. He did Havana. He did The Firm. That's not a Robert Redford. Mm-hmm. Anyway, on and on it goes. And then in the TV. And then as an actor, he, of course, was an actor in one of my top 5 movies ever.
Michael Clayton.
He was in Michael Clayton. Yeah. Anyway, I had to watch it. And I got to tell you, man, and I'm absolutely no Barbra Streisand fan, but that is such a good movie. Mm-hmm. That is such a good movie. So if you've never seen it, and I just love Sidney Pollack. I've loved all that he's done, and it was very good. And I did feel a little cleansed after having watched Lioness and then the 2 hours of The Way We Were.
That got you back to center.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot that James Woods was in that.
Oh, I didn't remember that either.
Very young James Woods. Okay, we have war update to get to. And man, what happened last week? What happened to the big thing last week where we were going to annihilate them all? We have a war update, and we'll get to that. And also the WNBA. I can't believe it. Last week we talked about Sophie Cunningham and the WNBA, and they and it are in the news. She and it are in the news big time, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, you know that I'm not much on boycotts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never have been really very big on boycotts because most times they're too broad or general. There's no timeline, no specificity as to, the goals. How do we measure the achievement? And it just becomes a chance to hop on board, a train that everyone else is supposed to be on. It's a train really that goes nowhere. But be on the train. Be on the train. Doesn't matter if you're effective. Just be on the train because everybody else. So I've not really been a fan of boycotts. But I do also know that sometimes when you participate in a boycott, or maybe you just decide to spend your money differently, it has not to do with changing a company, but just that you don't really feel like you want to spend your money with people who hold those values.
Sure.
Yeah, so that is an example of, just do it. I did it that way for a movie thing 100 years ago. For 1 year, I didn't hold signs outside and protest. I said, there are lots of places to go to the movies. When I go to the movies, I'm not going to go to that theater chain because they did this thing that I didn't like. So you vote with your money. You vote with the way that they will understand the most. But there is something that has been making the social media rounds, which I'm sure you've seen, and it's the personalizing of the Coca Cola cans. Are you familiar with this?
Well, I've seen for a long time Coca-Cola bottles in grocery stores for several years now have had personalized labels.
Well, they've had like, they might say Lauren, or I might say Scott, or I might say Catherine.
Right. They're not custom made. They're just,
Right.
You just pull one out of the refrigerator if it's yours.
Well, they have started, and now they have stopped, making available the ability to go online, go to the official Coca-Cola company website, and you can order customized Coca-Cola cans with whatever you want on it. Well, not whatever you want on it, but with a customized thing.
Okay.
And for $9.99, you get a 12-pack of cans. So you might have a can that says Wilder Show Podcast. Or,
why did they stop doing that?
Well, let's dive. I can't believe you didn't hear about this, but that's the story. So you don't know about this. My first thought was, when I heard about it, I thought, oh, come on, man. Really, this is much ado about nothing. This is a bunch of people getting, their hair all twisted up, being nervous about something or clutching their pearls. And so the way it worked is you could fill out this little form online and they would print it out on the cans. And so you could put names or slogans, you put your thoughts, have a nice day, happy Monday, Friday, or Sunday is fun day.
People were paying for this. Huh?
Sun's out, buns out, sun's out, guns out. Anyway, so they have these, but they have rules, of course, because you can't do just anything.
They might have said no to suns out, buns out, actually.
I meant to say guns. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
I might have understood that. Go ahead. Sorry.
But you can see how this might be a problem, as you just saw.
Yeah.
How some, Weisenheimer might take advantage of it, maybe do something offensive. So they have to ban certain things. And that makes sense. Foul words, curse words, offensive, copyrighted things, for example. And this is when it gets interesting. That, of course, makes sense that you can't do everything. But who decides the words allowed and the phrases allowed and the phrases that are not allowed?
I bet there's a team.
Well, you would think so for a massive company. Here's what the website said. Unfortunately, we cannot print some names and phrases. For example, offensive words are not permitted, as well as names or words that may be a trademark of a third party. There is also a 14-letter character limit. So you go to the website, you enter your word or your phrase, and if it's accepted, you get a 12-pack of Coke cans with your personalized message. If it accepts your submission, it will show you a screenshot of your phrase on a Coke can.
Mm-hmm.
And if it rejects it, you get this in big red letters. The name or phrase you've submitted is not permitted. Names and phrases may not be permitted if they belong to a business, organization, celebrity, public figure, school, team, or other trademark, or religious or political in nature, or could be considered inappropriate or unsuitable for other reasons. So that is what it says.
Okay.
So when a company, especially a company the size of Coca Cola, rolls something like this out, you got to know that they've run it through some tests, right?
Mm-hmm. You'd think so.
Sample it to make sure that the rules that they've set forth apply. They catch the things that should be caught. They accept the things that should be allowed. If somebody put the F word, it would be rejected. Okay, good. We tested it. It was rejected. That worked.
Mm-hmm.
If someone put in, have a nice day, it would be accepted. And okay, that's been tested and that's good. And it worked. You had to have run it through its paces. Okay, so what is the problem? The problem is what it accepted and what it rejected.
Okay.
And you got to wonder, really, two things. You got to wonder why. Why did it reject certain things and accept certain things? And also how? How can a company roll this out and not expect this will be caught and made known to everyone? For example, a phrase that is accepted, defund the police.
Really?
But rejected, make America great.
Wow.
Accepted, Allah is good. Satan is good. Muhammad is good. Rejected, Jesus is good.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. Accepted, devil is king. Rejected, Jesus is king. Christ is king. Rejected. Atheist pride, accepted. Pedophile pride, accepted. MAP pride, I'm sorry to educate you on this. MAP stands for minor attracted person. MAP pride, accepted. So among the ones rejected, Jesus Christ, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is good, Jesus is God, Jesus is King, Christ is King. Now you might think, and this is what I first thought, sounds like they're rejecting anything about Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not the case. Because it does accept Jesus is evil.
No way.
It does. I saw it. I did it. It does accept Jesus is bad. It does accept Jesus is the devil. All accepted. So it wasn't a prohibition on the name Jesus.
Yeah.
But the context. You can say Jesus, but you have to say he's bad, or he's evil, or he's the devil. Well, now it is not operable. When the it shay hit the fan, they shut it down. And if you go there right now, it says customized cans are sold out. And it says this, while we review and take corrective action, we have disabled the preview feature and paused new personalized product orders after becoming aware that it had been used to generate content previews using restricted terms that do not align with our guidelines. The spokesperson continues. All personalization orders are subject to moderation review after submission and have safeguards in place to prevent the approval and production of cans and bottles featuring religious, political, trademarked, inappropriate, otherwise restricted terms and phrases. We will continue to enhance this tool based on consumer feedback.
That's terrible.
So there you go. So a lot of people are saying, now I could never be driven to Pepsi, but there are a lot of people saying, yeah, no. See that is sort of the world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can offend the majority. You can offend the Christian. You can offend the, if I may, normal person. It is the aberrant that you make sure you cannot offend. If, for example, they allowed Christ is King, if they allowed life is precious, I didn't even try that one.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be thought of as, as a Christian thing or as an anti-gay, lesbian, whatever. It's just the pendulum has swung so far the other direction that you think, I really do ask those two questions. Really, not so much the why. I get the why. I get the why. They have an agenda that is not my agenda. They're not open to the majority position on this, or that could never happen. How can, I would guess, a global billion-dollar company not have gamed that out better? I can't
sort
imagine
of
it.
shocking.
I mean, and I did it, and I thought, this is not true. I did it myself over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I put those phrases in, and the ones that I put in that I said were rejected were rejected. The ones that I think Yahweh, if you spell it the Israeli way, like YW, whatever, YHWH or whatever it is, I think that one was accepted. But you couldn't just say God is good. Anyway, so there you go. A little culture thing. Another culture thing coming up at the WNBA in a second before Scattershoot. Now, the war. When last we left you about 9 days ago, the president said we were about a day away from a deal with Iran. And it would open the Strait of Hormuz and also include securing the nuclear issue. He said he was giving Iran one final opportunity to agree to a peace deal or risk, quoting, decapitation. Then the president said he decided to hold off on ordering what would have been, quote, the biggest attack since World War II, end quote, at the request of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. So the president calls off this massive attack that he says was going to happen. And the markets went up and the price of oil went down on the great news that finally we were at the end of the war. After all the threats and the promises over and over again, this time we're going to get a deal and the strait will be opened. Then Iran chimed in and said, we're not talking to the United States. Actually, they were talking to someone and negotiating with someone, but it wasn't the United States. It was Oman. See, the way it works here, if you look at the Strait of Hormuz, that little tiny little pinch of water that goes into the Persian Gulf, the land just north of the Strait of Hormuz is Iran. The land just south of the Strait of Hormuz is Oman. And so even going back into the Memorandum of Understanding, the talk was, okay, for 60 days, nobody's going to be charged anything, free passage, and then ultimately it'll be left to Iran and Oman to figure out the managing of passage in the Strait of Hormuz. And so what happened was Oman said, okay, here's the deal. You guys get Iran, you guys get the northern part for everybody coming into the Persian Gulf, and you control it 100%. And then we will control 100% the southern part, closer to our land, for the people that are leaving the Persian Gulf. To which Iran said, we like half of that. We will control 100% of the north, and we will control 50% of the south. You can control 50% of the south, and we can put restrictions on who will and will not enter the Persian Gulf. And no Israeli traffic and no American traffic is allowed. Now, except for the paying of tolls and all that, it was left in the Memorandum of Understanding, which lasted about a week, that, ultimately it'd be Oman and Iran that would be deciding the management of the Strait of Hormuz. But we were still part of that deal. And by the way, that memorandum was rejected. This has been accepted by Iran with those conditions, but we're not part of it anymore. We have no say about it anymore. So we have been boxed out. Now we come to the latest. Over the weekend, on Sunday, the president, in a telephone interview with Axios, said, we're low-keying it now. We're low-keying it. I don't even know what that means, but we apparently are. Adding that talks on a deal to end the war have slowed. We're only semi-negotiating with them, he says. How do we go from we're one day away from either a peace deal, the likes of which the world has never seen before, or we will bomb you, the likes of which the world has never seen before. And now, we're going to low-key it, and also we're semi-negotiating with them. That's what the president says. President says we're going to hit them economically instead. Said Iran is in very bad shape financially. Says high inflation, can't pay their own soldiers, and says it's all because of the U.S. naval blockade that's been in place since April, increasing the pressure. He says, we're just watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact that they have no money. So we're selling that they're losing, which you'd think that would bring a lowering of demands, right? To get a deal with the United States. Usually the side that is losing will lower their demands, and it's the side that would be winning that would say, well, we don't have to cut a deal. If you really want us to cut a deal, we're going to notch up our demands. Well, Iran has increased their demands, so they still haven't gotten the memo that we're winning and they're losing. And here are their new demands. never threaten Iran with any language or insult the sanctities of this nation. End the war and aggression against Iran and its allies in Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen, and Iraq forever. Lift the naval blockade and withdraw its military forces, naval and air, from around Iran. Pay the damages for the 2 years of war of aggression against Iran. Lift the cruel and illegal sanctions against the Iranian nation and restore all of their money, all their frozen assets. Unconditionally, they say, release the frozen and stolen assets of the Iranian people. That is never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, to some derision, maybe more so on the Mark Davis show when I filled in there, but I got a lot of heat here, too, in email. When I said, out of all the countries that have nuclear weapons, how many countries have ever used them offensively? 0, except us. We're the only ones that have done it.
I remember that.
Everyone else has done it as a deterrent. People of goodwill can disagree. Please hold your fire, figuratively. But some people believe that a country, forget about Iran, a country seeking to get nuclear weapons is to protect itself against other countries that have nuclear weapons. We are not likely now to attack North Korea. Why? Because they are a nuclear power. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
We, as mad as we can be at China, as mad as we can be at Pakistan, as mad as we can be at India or at Russia or at Israel, we are never going to attack those countries that are nuclear countries. So for every single country that is nuclear, the benefit to them has been what? To destroy their enemies? No, to protect themselves from their enemies or from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's been what they've done. And I argued, and also took a lot of heat for this, that even if they had nuclear weapons and they fired, say, 10 nuclear weapons to some place, the bombs drop, they go off, the damage is done, it's contained. Geographically, it's contained. And it's contained chronologically. It is a moment in time, the impact. And how much more powerful actually is if Iran wanted nuclear weapons as a deterrent, how much more powerful is the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz? I argued at the time that's sort of like a non-nuclear nuke because it is entirely defensive. They can do it anytime they want. They don't have to do it 1 time or 20 times or 100 times, do 1,000 times. They could turn it on. They could turn it off. They could selectively let their friends come through with oil and punish all the people that they don't like. And the impact would be around the world all at once, as we've seen. And I think that's kind of where we are today. How many times have we said the Strait of Hormuz has now become the thing we're begging them to open, and it wasn't even closed when we began this almost now 6 months ago. The WNBA has scheduled a task force meeting of team presidents and general managers. Guess what they're going to discuss? What is a woman? They're going to discuss transgender athlete participation and player eligibility. The meeting follows all the comments by players about how ready they are to have team members that are trans, people who are male, born male, and they declare that they are now identifying as a woman. Mm-hmm. And so I get to play on your team. And you have 2 former NBA players who have said, we are declaring for the draft for the WNBA. And it has the WNBA brass scrambling. So the meetings this week for the WNBA leadership is to determine what is a woman, as ridiculous as that sounds. It is Kathy Engelbert, I think? Kathy Engelbert. She is the WNBA commissioner, and she sent out a memo that was obtained by the Associated Press and ESPN to all the general managers and to the management. And here's what she wrote. I know many of you have received questions in recent weeks regarding transgender athlete participation in women's basketball, and I expect this topic will continue to receive significant attention. I wanted to reach out to share how we are approaching these conversations at the league office and to thank those of you who have responded to questions from the media with thoughtfulness and professionalism. That's part of the memo. So the WNBA commissioner, the team presidents, the general managers are going to discuss the matter this week. Her memo expands how the league is approaching the topic and emphasizes an open forum for feedback. And let me just say, there have been players in the last 2 weeks that have talked about, and this is all in reaction to Sophie Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie Cunningham came out and said she doesn't believe people that were born biologically male should be able to participate in the WNBA.
Right.
That is not phobic. That is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all of this has come as a result of that. Anyway, the memo continues. The league will always approach this topic thoughtfully, respectfully, and in alignment with the longstanding values of our league. Second, our player eligibility rules, unlike the eligibility rules of some other leagues and governing bodies, are collectively bargained. What that means is it has to include the Players Association. So she goes on, lastly, preserving the integrity of our game and ensuring fair competition will always remain among the league's highest priorities. We recognize that this is a complex and nuanced topic, and we will continue to have important conversations with all of you and the Players Association in the weeks and months ahead, end quote. Okay. So the reason this is coming up is because Sophie Cunningham expressed support for barring individuals born male from women's sports. Like I said, common sense. Well, everything escalates because two retired NBA players, Enes Kanter and Royce White, as I said, have publicly claimed they will declare for the 2027 draft, stating they identify as women and, they're going to test and challenge the league's framework. And I'll tell you, in the collective bargaining agreement, CBA, collective bargaining agreement, the current WNBA collective bargaining agreement dictates that, quote, only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. Well, that seems to settle it, doesn't it? But it doesn't, because what is a woman? So they're going to have that conversation. They're going to have to say, because if that's what it says, only women are eligible to play in the WNBA. Sadly, we have to ask the question now, what is a woman? They're going to have to decide. A woman is a human who was born biologically female. Or they're going to have to say anyone who declares that they identify as a woman. In which case, these two guys, they can go into the draft. And any team that wants to win will bring in these guys. And all these women that are so liberal and open-minded, all these players who are saying how much they welcome it, great. This is a good day for you. We're bringing you some biologically born male humans to play alongside you. I don't think they really want it. I think they want some weak trans that they then can say, we're all liberal, we're letting them play, but we're going to keep out the ones that can actually make a difference. We don't want ones that can actually make a difference. So are these guys testing the process? They are. And I would say this, here's what I hope. I hope these guys, if they are rejected, but they still meet the qualifications, I hope they sue. I hope they sue the WNBA. They're going to lose their whole league. If they can't just say outright, this is the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association. Mm-hmm. It is for humans born female. That's it. If you weren't born female, you're not going to be. So what would that mean? That means no trans in their sport. They can't live like that. They had coaches who we talked about on the sidelines wearing pro-trans T-shirts. Okay, well, let's get it on. Let's figure out what you really believe. Do you really believe that? I don't think you believe that. Are you willing to have your whole basketball association go broke, which is what is going to happen? Or might you just say, this is the way it is? And I'll tell you, if you want to take it a step further, how about this? Somebody decides we're going to get another franchise, another WNBA franchise, and we're going to have all trans. So we're going to have a bunch of retired NBA players, born male, obviously, and they're going to all declare, and they're going to be drafted on our team. And we're going to wipe everybody out. We're going to show you what a bad idea this is. So I think it's hilarious. I do.
Is there any part of you that wishes it wasn't quite as performative as it is?
On whose part performative?
Well, both of these guys are kind of making a show out of it.
I think it's performative on the other side.
Okay.
These two players and the other ones are going to follow them, and I hope many do. These players are simply going to say to the WNBA, put up or shut up. WNBA, you said in interviews, and your players and your coaches and your management and your commissioner talks about the openness to trans. Well, a trans is someone who's not born a woman. All they're really saying is, if you're the WNBA and your commissioner and your coaches and your managers and general management, the higher ups, and the players are all talking about how open they are to trans, we're going to ask you just to define what you mean. What does it mean to be a woman? What is a woman? Because if you're saying you welcome trans, I want to play, I want a 2.0, I want to play in the WNBA. And you have said that all I have to do is identify as a woman. I don't have to have a long history of people that I've dated or wearing dresses or wearing wigs or anything else, cross-dressing, going to get stuff added or taken away from my body. It is just about how do I self-identify? And if that's what you're saying, we're going to test you on that. And the good news for normal people at the end of this is going to be they will have to have a definition that everyone understands. And that definition will either be biological males are allowed to play in the WNBA or biological males are not allowed to play in the WNBA. I can live with either one of those because it's clear. So just pick a lane, own it, and then you're going to have to live with whatever the consequences are of what you've done. If you say biological males can play, then get ready. And if you say they can't play, then get ready to be called a transphobe or whatever. So I had a little culture war stuff, but it's in the news and it's worthy of our attention. Before we just scatter shoot, just a reminder, tomorrow, hold on to something, because that's the day we lose our gravity we lose gravity at 8:33 our time. So I would just say about 8, set the alarm for 8
a.m., right?
Yeah, in the morning, 8:33 in the morning. So set your alarm for about 8:25, 8:30. And at 8:30, by 8:30, you should be securing yourself to a tree.
Is there even the tiniest little part of you that is going to be looking around at 8:25 just to see how fast you could get to something if...
No, I told you, don't make fun of me. I mean, if you drive by at precisely that time, I will be for 7 seconds holding on to something. Oh, it is a time for scatter shoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show scatter shoot. All right.
You a garage sale fan? Yard sales?
I'm not.
Sales,
I'm not really.
sales.
I'm a. When you say that, do you mean do I like to go to them or be in charge of them or?
I guess either.
Not really. Maybe I've done it before where you see something and you go, hey, I could do something with that. I could do. So I'm not saying you can't have. And you have the stories always of somebody, who sees an old fiddle and it turns out to be a Stradivarius. It happens all the time.
It doesn't really happen all the time. It hardly ever happens.
Or you have somebody who, it's a frame they bought.
Yeah.
The painting, they didn't really care about the painting. They bought it for the frame. It turns out the painting was a Van Gogh. That happens all the time. People get those at garage sales. But I don't do that.
I've been a part of a few fundraiser garage sales that have been really successful when you have a whole bunch of people that are contributing their
like
stuff.
A school thing or whatever.
Yeah, and then a whole bunch of people who want to operate it. But I think the last time I did a garage sale myself, I kept track of all of the hours I had put into getting it together, and I think by the end of it, I had made like $7 an hour or something like that, maybe even less than that. Yeah. And at that point, I decided got rid of some stuff, but I mean, in the long run, if I could have kept my weekend and just given it all away, that probably would have been
put a sign up that says, "Come
deal.
Take this."
Just come get a free pile.
Come take everything's free.
In my sister's neighborhood, every once in a while they'll have a day designated for free piles, so you don't just have junk outside of your house all through the neighborhood all of the time. It'll be like free pile day, and you put your stuff out. That's kind of a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Does it ever occur to them that when they're putting this stuff out, when it's their turn, like in 7 months? It's the stuff that they just got from somebody from their yard. It's a perpetual
exchange of junk.
Come grab this.
Yeah.
I have no more place for anything in my house. Come take it. I'll take it for a while.
Yeah.
But then I've got to get rid of it.
Well, I have another really good reason to not go to garage sales. On May 15th, in a suburb of Tucson, Arizona, deputies responded about 9 o'clock in the morning to reports of a firearm accident. And when they arrived, they found a 61-year-old man and a 35-year-old man, both with injuries. At least one of the victims had been shot, and the suspect had already left the scene. For 2 months, they looked for this guy. Clarence Bodiford was hosting a garage sale. He brought out a firearm for these potential buyers to examine. Authorities said that he then handled the weapon recklessly, causing it to discharge, strike both victims, and Clarence Bodiford was out of there.
No, as you're saying, so the guy that's running the garage sale.
Yeah.
So they knew who he was.
They knew who he was.
He just ran away after
he ran. He ran
silly.
fast and far. They caught him a couple of months later, just at the end of July, in Florida. Took him into custody in Pinellas County in coordination with the FBI. This was a huge manhunt to find this guy, and it all started at this yard sale.
Well, I don't understand. So 2 guys were shot?
Well, it says 2 guys were injured. One was shot. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, but two men were taken to the
Maybe Clarence
taken
ran
to the
over
hospital.
one as he fled.
Pushed him really hard on his way out of the yard.
I'm encouraged that the 61-year-old guy ran fast.
I guess so.
That was kind of encouraging.
Neighbors afterwards said they were always a little bit nervous about Clarence, but they never expected it to end like this.
Guns should not be part of a garage sale.
No.
I mean, nobody should be selling guns at a garage sale.
I think I get the impression that it wasn't necessarily out on a table.
Yeah.
Maybe he had some other related, some like nunchucks or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. When somebody
You got
said
anything stronger? I got some soda. You got anything stronger?
He said, I got something.
Got an adult beverage?
I got something in the closet. Let me go get it. I'll bring it out.
Go back to the office real quick.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the garage sale. I know it's been helpful. I mean, we used to do them. You know, in the wintertime, you take the stuff to the dump. In the summertime, you sell it. Put it, but that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I've seen things that, save an old washer dryer or something.
Yeah.
And you're not going to use it. You got a new one or whatever. Somebody else can really use that.
Listen, I was looking for a dryer once and found one at a garage sale around the corner from my house.
Yeah.
And it was a guy who was moving out of this house, and it was like a fairly new looking washer and dryer. Mm-hmm. And I said, how much for the dryer? And he said, $30. I said, done. I'll be back. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Came back and he said, no, the set, the washer and the dryer for $30. This was when my kids were still young. We used those for like 10 years.
Great. Yeah, that's great. We had my dad and mom had a real small Toyota that I ended up buying or getting from them. And I drove it because I felt attached to it after my dad died. And I thought, I don't drive it much, but I don't really want to, my dad drove this and I don't want to. And ultimately it's after, a couple of years of having it and getting inspected. It's got to be inspected. It's got to be taken care of. You got to change the oil. You got to take care of stuff. I thought, somebody else could really use this. Yeah. And we found a couple, an older couple, and just gave it to them. Because it wasn't really worth very much, but it was a good car that ran.
Very much appreciated.
And I did in the same way, like the $30, basically he gave it to you, gave you, and you used it for a long time. My main thing was I felt guilty that I had withheld that from someone who could have used it all this time. Yeah. That I didn't feel like that was a good emotional attachment to a thing. That it would have been more honoring maybe to my dad if I found somebody who could have used it and immediately put it in their hands. So, but live and learn. Yep.
You ever suffer from insomnia?
It depends on the meaning of the word insomnia. Well, I mean, I don't suffer from, I really need to sleep and I cannot get to sleep.
I think for purposes of what we're going to talk about now, and maybe some studies on what insomnia is and how people suffer from it, we're looking at like 45 sleepless minutes a night. So you might fall asleep, but then wake up in the middle of the night and have at least 45 sleepless minutes.
I have that.
Yeah, I have that
probably
too.
every night.
Do you really?
Yeah.
See, I wake up a lot of times, but more often than not, I don't stay awake very long. But I mean like 8, 9, or 10 times I might wake up.
I wake up and then I think, oh, I didn't finish that movie, or oh, I didn't finish listening to that thing, and I might put it back on, and then figure, oh, I'll probably doze off, and then I do or I don't.
For 40 or 45 minutes,
Sure,
you'll be
sometimes.
awake there?
Yeah, sure.
Do you find that does it affect the way you feel or live the next day?
Some people that I work with think that I'm a little crabby.
But is that only on the nights when you've had 45 minutes sleepless during the night?
I just told you it's every day. So of course,
is that just
so there you go. That explains it, Lauren. No, I don't. I don't feel like, oh my, I'm so tired. No, I don't. And I have started just staying up way too late. You know, it's just crazy. Stay up late and then wake up in the middle of the night and then wake up rather early.
See, I've started going to bed earlier.
That's good. That's smart.
I've gotten into a routine that I've never really had since I was maybe in school, or maybe when, I don't even know if, I had such weird jobs, you know, with the sleep times and wake up times being affected by that. But I am finding that a really solid, like 10 o'clock bedtime and getting up sometime in the 6 o'clock hour, that doesn't always equal 8 hours of sleep, because sometimes I am awake, you know, for several periods during the night. But I do think that is having an effect on the way I feel for the rest of the day.
That's good.
There's a study. Now, I don't have any chronic pain, fortunately, but there's a study that it's kind of a small sample size. They always warn against that. If you're looking at fewer than 100 people, you have to keep in mind other things might have affected the way these things came out. But
what happened to those 4 guys?
A lot of times when people have insomnia, the kind of thing that we were just talking about, where you're awake for a period of 40 to 45 minutes or longer during the night, people wake up, and we're not talking about young people, we're talking about people our age.
Sure.
You might wake up and think, I can't get up as early as I thought I was going to get up. I can't get all the things done today. I'm just too tired. I'm too tired from that amount of time that I was awake during the night. So it'd be easy to assume that if you have chronic insomnia, it might throw off an older adult, and I'm, again, talking about us, the entire schedule off. You might have irregular meals, erratic bedtimes. Your life just kind of falls apart because your sleep has already fallen apart. And new research actually kind of complicates this. They found that adults with insomnia kept just as steady a daily routine as good sleepers did. What was consistently linked to pain, though, pain and body mass index and depressive symptoms across both groups, was the regularity of a person's daily schedule. So again, we're looking at insomnia as being 40 to 45 minutes spent lying awake at night. So they did group comparisons, and they turned out nearly identical on routine regularity and body mass index. This was undercutting kind of the assumption that a bad night's sleep also breaks a person's daily structure. So participants with insomnia did report significantly more pain and considerably more depressive symptoms than good sleepers, which tracked with earlier research that said poor sleep and physical and emotional strain in later life kind of ties together. But a more consequential finding was when they saw that the researchers looked across the entire sample of people. Again, this was kind of a small sample. It was 67 people.
6-7.
The insomnia sufferers and the good sleepers combined. They found that adults with a steadier daily schedule reported measurably less pain, lower body mass index, and fewer depressive symptoms, no matter which sleep group they belonged to. And having insomnia didn't change or weaken any of those connections. So, sleep quality, that's kind of hard to fix. If you have, there are a lot of things that you can do. You can stop scrolling early. You can put away all of your screens early. You can read a book. You can have a quiet period. All of the things that they tell us to do. But at this time in our lives, a lot of people just struggle with sleep issues. You can be doing everything right, and you can still struggle with insomnia. But routine is a more workable target. You can get yourself up in the morning. You can eat breakfast. You can keep social contact at fairly consistent times. So keeping this schedule, whether you're sleeping or not, don't try not to tell yourself, I got a terrible night's sleep. I can't do any of the things today that I thought I was going to be able to do. Because it turns out that losing the sleep is not the thing that is causing people chronic pain. It's not causing us to hold on to a little more weight than we would like to. And it is not necessarily the cause of any depressive symptoms that people at our stage of life might have. If you can keep that routine going, which I know can be kind of difficult, is what we've talked recently about. Don't retire. What was it that we thought the advice was? Don't retire unless you've got something planned that's going to give your life a purpose, a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Don't retire, refire.
I
mean, have schedule, have a purpose, have structure. Two things. I can fall asleep anytime, not because I'm necessarily tired. I've always been able to. I could just, right now, I could lie down on the studio on the floor, and I promise you within 10 minutes, I could be asleep.
But in 30 more minutes, you might be awake for 45.
Sure, absolutely. and the thing is, it's like, I don't ever feel like I have to, when I'm awake, I don't go, gosh, I really wish I could get back to sleep. I do go back to sleep. The other thing is people talk about early to bed, early to rise. I've always thought that was backwards.
Early to bed, early to rise.
It should be early to rise and then early to bed. Because if you get up early and you stay busy all day, you will be tired when you're supposed to be tired. So you can't force yourself. Like, I'm going to go to bed early so that I'll be really rested when 6 o'clock comes. Get up early one day and then be busy all day. At the end of the day, you're going to be tired. And for most people, normal people, not me, but normal people, you will go to sleep, you will fall asleep within 20, 30 minutes, and you will stay asleep probably for the entire night.
Yeah.
And then you'll wake up rested. And there you
you make that sound really easy.
You've broken the chain.
Yeah. I can still do that. I mean, I can get up early, go to bed early, go to bed early, get up early, whichever one you think is the chicken and whichever is the egg. I can fall asleep pretty fast, but I just don't. I can't. If I look at my little wearable thing, if I look at the sleep tracker the next morning, if I was only awake 4 times, that is a huge win.
Interesting.
It's usually way more than that.
Interesting. Then you need that full 8 hours, because with the full 8 hour period allows you to have maybe 6 hours of
way more likely
sleep,
to get it. Yep. Is all scrolling doom scrolling?
You're scrolling for bad news? Is that what they're talking about?
Well, or
doom scrolling?
Just scrolling through bad news?
I guess so. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, I think it all can certainly be a waste of time.
Yeah.
It all can be completely counterproductive.
Well, the reason I ask is Gen Z has a new way that they're fighting doom scrolling. Analog bags. Do you know what an analog bag is?
Given time, I could come up with a really ridiculous joke of an answer, but what is an analog bag?
It's the little bag, in some cases, is the pretty good sized bag that you carry around with your novel. It could be an e-reader, but most times it's an actual novel with paper pages.
Okay.
Your flip phone. Your old style flip phone. So you can't have your smartphone in there. I guess they do.
They have a phone that they really love to use, and a phone that makes them feel like they're better people.
Or maybe actually helps them be better people. Unplug for a little while.
What gen is this we're talking about?
This is Gen Z. You could have some of them have a deck of playing cards. Or maybe a game that they carry around with them, a small game, a notebook to take notes the old-fashioned way, a planner not connected to not a digital planner, not on your phone, but an actual paper.
Do they use any of this, or just having it is the thing?
I guess they feel like if they have it, they will be more inclined to use it. But what I'm seeing is also these really cute little things that I don't think I'd ever use. Little tiny watercolor kits, like a little tin with watercolor, and I mean like Altoid size, almost tiny little paper.
The paper is the size of the lid.
Yeah,
you put it in the lid, and
yes,
I've seen guys that do that. I mean, really high end guys that do that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could show you some. I mean, unbelievable stuff.
Well, as you can imagine, the The value of your bag, it seems like at least, is how cute the bag is. It's not necessarily what you have inside,
Right.
but a lot of these, and these are all of the bags that I saw, all of the analog bags that I saw belong to young women. There might be a lot of young men who are doing this too, but they take their bag and they might spend, like a phone-free night outside somewhere, and they've got all of their analog goodies tucked in their bag. The ironic thing I thought about all of this, though, is how many of these analog bags that you find posted about on TikTok. So that's where you see all the really cute analog bags. And that's where you get all the ideas for the things that you might put in your analog bag is while you're scrolling. Yeah.
So they have to keep the fun phone because that's where they get all their stuff to tell them how to live that other life of temporary meaningfulness.
I don't know.
Where you see me with my giant Lululemon bag with all my stuff in it. That giant thing that's popular right now. It's like the size of.
It's actually, I think,
massive.
This is a Land's End bag that people are saying is the really. No, it's It's the LL Bean boat and tote bag.
I got you.
You can get something cute, embroidered on the side.
Yeah.
It might say, I don't know, might say analog bag. Who knows? But yeah, it's what we used to just call a bag. What would you carry in your analog bag?
I do have a Canson sketchbook.
Oh, like a sketchbook. Yeah.
I do have that. I don't sketch that much.
What are those journals that we used to like too? I think I still
Canson.
have. No, it was a different brand. Yeah.
Oh, the Moleskine?
Moleskine.
Yeah, Moleskine.
Yeah.
You have to have a Moleskine, which is practical.
Special pens. You got to have really nice pens.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very, very fine point pens. I like a fountain pen, so I'll have a fountain. Not a fancy fountain pen. It's a cheap fountain pen that I buy by the 20s, 20 of them, or 12 or 20 at a time. I like those. And I would have
a book or a magazine. You just got a what is it, BSW?
Yeah.
Broadcast
Supply.
Yeah,
I think I'd take a BSW magazine. Might take something from, if I can get some from Ace Hardware stuff or Elliott's, the latest.
You mean a catalog from
or
there?
an on sale sheet or something.
Yeah.
I could look at while I'm enjoying my coffee with my other Gen Z friends.
That's nice. Nice.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Let me think.
I want to ask you a question too, though. How long do you think you could take that, like say you've got your analog bag, you carry it out to a park, and you sit down. How long would it be before you missed your phone? Not for communication purposes.
It's for
just
knowing
for fun.
stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I've quit things, I haven't really missed it. But when I'm back on it, I'm on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't go like when I've not done something. For me, it's all about news. For me, it's about news and events and things that are going on. I like to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't really care about people's posts and all that kind of stuff. I don't really pay attention.
Right.
I don't even look to all the stories, all the Instagram stories of my own family.
Yeah.
I mean, those things disappear. Did you see that? Or did you see so and so put this up? I said, I don't look at those all the time.
Yeah.
I just don't do that. But I would probably, if I missed it, you asked me how long, I could go a weekend without my phone.
Could you really?
Sure. I mean,
without the fast access to headlines and things like that,
Absolutely.
or would you just go find it someplace else?
No, well, I mean, just like those people are reading. They're not reading on the internet. They're reading a book, or they're reading a magazine, or they're reading a newspaper.
Yeah, but reading a novel is a lot different than scrolling Instagram. I think.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not. If I had a flip phone in case if I was,
just for communication,
needed to call someone.
Yeah,
that'd be okay. I've kind of thought about that when I've seen the ads on TV for I say the older people, but I am them now.
We are them.
But I think, hey, don't you want to get the back? It's safe and the numbers are big. and
you can read what your kids are saying.
That's right. And so
while they
that's right. So
while they're talking,
I've thought, I kind of like the idea of a flip phone, but for news and stuff, I do like knowing what's going on. I get the alerts. I like that. I like to know what's going on. I've always have though. I mean, 100 years ago, I remember
always
thinking,
have, but access to it used to be so different.
No, it's true. But I mean, we know each other a long time. I remember saying, there's no way I could work if I worked in a bank. And it's different today. And it's hard to imagine now. But there was a day when, nobody had a TV in their office.
Right.
But radio, we always had access to news everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there is no way I could ever do. And of course, now everybody has access all the time because you get updates and texts. You get your little baby TV in your pocket. You pull it up and watch the news and watch the breaking news and all that. So now everyone is that crazy. But there was a day when I would say, yeah, there's no way I could work like I'm a computer engineer and I'm in a room like welding things or soldering things.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, stuff's going on in the world and I don't know what it is. And I get at the end of the day, I put the little soldering iron, unplug it and put it back in its holder and tamp it there on the sponge and then
go out and turn on the radio.
Take off my apron and
find out what you missed all day.
And I go, what? That happened when? Oh, yeah, about 9:20 this morning. And all day I'm, wearing those glasses, magnifying what I'm soldering. No way. 07s to all the people that do that, but I couldn't do it.
Wait, what?
The salute I was telling you about. 07s.
Oh, gotcha.
It's an 07.
Okay.
07s to the solderers. That is the Wilder Show podcast, dropping Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, sometimes on TikTok. Wherever you get your podcasts, we hope you'll like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. Find us on Instagram, Wilder Show Pod. And wherever you find us, there on that platform, just engage us right there. Get a comment, a little thumbs up, a little add a girl, something like that. It'd be great. So thank you for the like. Thanks for the rate. Follow, subscribe, share. And Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Da-da.